So, the Riot Shield and Glock 18, one of the new upcoming DLC weapons for this year's Christmas update in Killing Floor 2. So, is this weapon any good? Well, this since you have a Riot Shield, you might be asking, can you block and parry with this weapon? Well, yes and no. If I press the block button, I change fire mode, as you can see in the down right corner. So, how do you block with this weapon then? Well, you block by aiming down sights, which is pretty weird, although this is not really that big of a problem as a SWAT, because SWAT have tactical movements, so while you're aiming down sights or crouching, you ignore movement speed penalties. Yeah, and because of that, you're actually moving most of the time slightly faster while aiming down sight or crouching instead of, you know, just walking. So that's not too big of a deal as a SWAT, although it is a little bit weird, but whatever. So let's take a look at the weapon in the trade menu. There we go. So as you can see, it is a tier 4 weapon. You can see that on the sell price, how much you can sell for, and as well it can still be upgraded. So it's a tier 4 weapon that costs 1,500. And you can also see this weapon is fairly heavy, which is a big problem in my opinion with this weapon. Because it's so heavy, especially if you upgrade this weapon, you don't really have that much space for, you know, other weapons. So if you're going to use this, I would definitely just recommend getting a Chris SMG, mainly because the Riot Shield and Glock is, you know, the Glock is a pistol, so it deals handgun damage. Therefore, it's not that good against Scrakes, but it's good against flesh bounds. And therefore, you want to combo it with a Chris SMG, because Chris chews up Scrakes, but, you know, still have problem against flesh bounds. So yeah, so weight on this weapon is one huge issue. Also, the damage isn't the greatest either on this weapon, therefore I would recommend upgrading it. The upgrade gives you, you know, quite a good damage modifier. I think the damage modifier is 1.2 for this weapon, for the upgrade, which is pretty nice. And the reason why I would recommend upgrading this weapon is, well, let me show off how, you know, how a fleshbound takedown is with this weapon at tier 4. So let's spawn in a fleshbound. So, let's see if I can actually get a perfect takedown. Nope. How many bullets off there? 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 bullets off. Yeah, I almost got a perfect takedown with a single magazine. And that's because to decap a flesh pound with a tier 4 Glock, you require 62 shots in the head to decap the flesh pound, you know, without any other bonus damage from, like, focus injection from a field medic. So that's pretty tight for a solo takedown. Therefore, you know, I personally would recommend upgrading this weapon if you're going to run it. Just so flesh pounds are a little bit easier to, you know, take down without messing up or having to reload. As you can see, when you have a tier 5, Riot Shield and Glock, it can handle the flesh pounds pretty well. So that's a good thing about the weapon. And when it comes to Scrakes, as I said, since it deals handgun damage, Scrakes have a slight damage reduction to handguns, and therefore it can be a little bit difficult to get a successful Scrake takedown without having to reload. But there, I was capable of getting or decapping the Scrake, but again, I was using a tier 5 Riot Shield and Glock. With a tier 4, it's really difficult because, you know, how easily you will stumble a Scrake, and therefore he's going to move his head around a lot more, and, you know, head tracking, stumble animations can be a little bit difficult, especially to react to when the Scrake actually stumbles. But again, that's, you know, a reason why you have the Chris SMG. Because the Chris SMG chews up Scrakes, because SMG damage type is neutral against Scrakes. While handgun damage type have a damage modifier of 0.8 against Scrakes.
Hits the spot.
Yeah. But again, both the Chris and the Glock are good trash cleaning weapon, mainly because you have so much ammo on both of these weapons, and that's at least something that is fairly decent about the Glock, is that at least I have a good amount of ammo. Not as much as the Chris, but close. Also, the ammo is pretty cheap, which is pretty nice as well. So yeah, when I showed off this weapon so far, I've mainly kind of been talking about the Glock part, you know, except for blocking. So what about the shield? Well, the main thing about the shield is that you're only using it for blocking and bashing. And the block is pretty good. It gives you 50% damage reduction, which is very nice when it comes to the raging flesh bounce. And it can also be kind of useful against bosses if you want, you know, to have a little bit more survivability during the boss fight. Which, you know, could be good. Especially against Hans, since, you know, Hans deals a lot of damage once he, you know, starts swinging his arms at you. Yeah, but when it comes to the bash is pretty bad. How bad is it? Well, if I spawn in a Gorfast, not Gorfiend thing. Come on, game. Give me a Gorfiend. No, Gorfast. Give me a Gorfast, there we go. So here I have a Gorfast, I bash it in the head, and he survives. So yeah, that's pretty bad. Requires 2 bashes to decap a Gorfast. And when it comes to crawlers can survive the bash in the body, which is also pretty bad. So yeah, the bash is pretty weak. The only good thing about the bash is that it has some decent stumble power, but that stumble power isn't really that useful. Like, the only kind of way I can see to use this stumble power if you have a tier 4 right shield against a flesh bomb. But again, I mainly find this as a gimmick. So what you can do against a flesh bomb, you can do something like this with a tier 4. You can bash it to get a stumble, but yeah, you're going to take a hit if you do that most of the time.
Come on, come on.
But I guess it's something, you know, fun you can do, you know, if you feel like having a little bit more fun or something, I guess, with this weapon. So yeah, so other than blocking rage flesh pounds and, you know, blocking boss attacks with the shield, most of the time you're kind of just not using the shield with the right shield and Glock. So yeah. So, in conclusion, in my opinion, the right shield and Glock, it's a pretty decent weapon, although the main problem about this weapon is that we have the HRG nail gun now on SWAT. The HRG nail gun, outside of being able to block, is just straight up better than the Glock, because it deals more damage, especially up close if you use the triple fire mode, which is a huge problem. It's also lighter and cheaper, so yeah, it already have really tough competition, because, you know, it's mainly competing against the HRG nail gun. So, in my opinion, this weapon should at least be 1 weight lighter, so at least you can run a tier 5 right shield and Glock with a tier 5 Tris. That would be pretty nice. But other than that, I would say this weapon is perfectly fine. You know, you trade some offensive capabilities for some defensive capabilities, which, you know, can be nice, especially if you're not that good at, like, takedowns and everything. So, you know, you're allowed to make a little bit more mistakes, so, because, you know, you can take a few more hits. So yeah, overall, right shield and Glock, okay weapon, although if you want to play optimized, HRG nail gun is still better. So that's it, so yeah.
FBI, open up! Drop the knife! I said, drop the knife!